Hello and welcome back to MDG Media. We are excited to be bringing you Round 1 Front 9 MPO feature card coverage of the 2025 European Disc Golf Championships, a tournament bringing together the best in Europe to compete on the national level and represent a little bit more than just themselves. I'm here, Connor Wood, with Andrew Gum.
So happy to be here. We've got merch available on the website. Make sure you check that out. You can support MDG and wear some fly gear. There you see the reigning champ, Dennis Augustsson. Such a cool dude. Just shredded the field last time. The European Disc Golf Federation puts on this event every 2 years, and it is a very special occasion.
Joining him on our feature card, Estonian Albert Tamm, known by his nickname the Bazooka. We'll see him in action here today.
Yeah, we also have Peter Lunde from the host nation of Norway, the Oslo area. He'll have a lot of experience on this course. Super chill dude, really fun guy to have on the card, positive energy.
And the Finnish phenom himself, Niklas Anttila, excited to have him joining us here, is putting together a fantastic season, and I feel like we say that almost every season. This guy is up there at the top with the best in the world.
Yeah, he's a former European champ himself back from 2021 when it was at the Kanopište course, and yeah, he's won a ton of Disc Golf Pro Tour events as well, so he's definitely one of the best players in the world, not just Europe.
We'll kick it off here on hole 1, a 145-meter par 3, playing slightly downhill. You have the fairway bending first to the right and then straightening out. A lot of players are going to be throwing a backhand flex or roller, which narrows between these trees, bringing you up to this well-guarded green. It's a great nervy shot to get your round started. With OB lining both sides, the priority is to be inbounds. Yeah,
3.11 average, just above par. A lot of OB, but there's these fences that can help you a lot and keep you safe. There we see the clubhouse.
And if you don't learn, then you do it again.
Till. Ett ord. Lycka till.
Okay.
Good luck. I don't know how to say it in Norwegian.
Yeah, I don't know.
First on the tee from Alingsås and Team Sweden, reigning European champion from 2023. Please welcome to tee Dennis Augustsson.
Dennis being a left-handed player, a little bit more tricky for him on this hole, having to air it out over the OB, swings it back in over that fence and smashes the green, dropping a bomb here on hole 1 to kick off his tournament.
Yeah, giving it a solid ace run, and those Swedish fans are some of the best out there for sure.
Estonia, Albert Tamm.
Albert going with the forehand. He's going to kind of try to repeat that sort of same shape that we just saw from the lefty backhand. This dude crushes. I mean, he's one of the furthest throwers in the game. And so smooth about it too. Slow, deliberate run up on both sides. Just reaching back. So easy looking to get that full distance. Coming in, hits the tree, and unfortunately kicks into the OB, but he crossed in up there. He'll get to take it and have a chance to save the par from C2.
From Oslo and Team Norway, Peter Lunde.
Peter, a really smooth player, having a little bit of a breakout season so far in terms of his performances. becoming more well known within the European scene this year in particular.
Yeah, which is even more impressive considering he's had health problems in the off season. Didn't really get to practice or play that much, but he's been around the game for so long. Those skills, you know, shining through, even though he hasn't had time to really hone it all in.
And the last one from Kuopio and Team Finland. Give some hands for Niklas, Anttila.
Yeah, Niklas really needs no introduction at this point. Master of his craft, perhaps the most accurate disc golfer in the game. Most consistent as far as like form and the release points, angle control. That one, not really ideal. It's a good roller hole, but that one clipped that tree pretty early on. Looking like a par most likely, but his range is pretty freaking long. I mean, he's definitely going to give it a go from anywhere he can see the basket, really. He's so confident with the comebackers, and there you see it.
Oi, 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 off the band from way downtown. He's right there in the action. We go now to Peter, straddling off that fence, giving himself some extra width, just securing 3 there. No danger of the comebacker with the pace on that approach.
Yeah, Albert here now. The chance to save the par. Pretty far out. Yeah, a little timid there. First putt of the event. This is a 4-round event, and we sort of alluded to it that this is unique in the sense that they're representing their countries. You see those national uniforms looking really good, and yeah, a lot of pride out here for these European players to represent their country.
We saw an amazing throw from Dennis, but I think what separates him from the field most is his putting on the green. We see him clean up the 3 there.
Yeah, he's just automatic, isn't he? Doesn't take any time, just steps up, bangs it in the chains. The arm never really comes above the waist. It's a really low release, and it seems to be just right on point, especially when he's in the flow. You know, that's what we saw last European Championships. He just blew the field away, went wire to wire. Yeah, I mean, that was so impressive. So if he can get into that groove, he's a very dangerous man. Here we are, hole 2. This is a par 3, straight shot, tunnel, low ceiling, 80 meters. You got to watch out for this little built-up structure here, the kind of wall that you see on the left there. There's also OB on the right if you manage to kick over that fence. Quite a lot of trees to beat, but the shape is pretty straight. You know, if you can throw a straight, for these guys like a putter or mid-range most likely, then, you know, you're doing fine. You usually want to land a little bit short and slide it up. Otherwise, you know, it can go quite long if you're trying to basket hunt here, but it would be a cool ace as well. With that low ceiling, though, it's kind of hard to keep the height all the way through. Whoa, that was a really bad shank from Dennis. Luckily, it stays clean, kicks left. It was so low that it never had a chance to go over the fence, but pretty bad miss of the line. So smooth there from Peter.
Hits the gap on Heiser, up to flat, uses that ground play.
Yeah, right down the pipe. Just posterizing the hole. Exactly what you're looking to do. Niklas all day. Look at that. Almost hitting the pole. It was just a bit long, but no stress for him.
2 textbook executions here of hole 2. Albert opting for this alternative route. You can throw the forehand Heiser around the left side. You just have to get a little bit of luck to filter through those trees. You see the gaps are present, although small. And as a result, he comes up just shy, I believe, of circle 2. We'll be left with a long look, although for birdie, I'd say that's the safe progress shot that is not really going to net you more than a par ever.
Yeah. Yeah, big numbers can come into play on this one if you kick early and go OB. Dennis getting that nice tree backstop and solid scramble. After two not really ideal shots, looked like that one had a bit too much juice on it, but there he is, parked for par, so not complaining. Here we see Albert. Got caught up in the trees and just pitching up for that par. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a damage control play, right? You can just sort of take out the early miss, make sure you get up and around and get at least somewhere up there if it goes just right, as we see Niklas bang that home for the birdie. But yeah, like with the Albert play, you know, you can just kind of crash in up there. Maybe it's kind of like rolling the dice a little bit, but it's taking out the bigger numbers.
Peter securing the 2 here. You mentioned it earlier, Andrew. He is the Norwegian local of our feature card. And a lot of great support, not just for the Norwegians, but overall excitement is in the air here at the Vasset Diskgolf Park. We continue to hole 3. This is a par 3. You have this initial tunnel off the tee. You want to hit something through the gap, most often with a soft flex shape, either flipping up from a hyzer angle or at least flat, allowing it to drift, utilizing the width as much as possible. You then want to crash into this well-guarded green at the tree line's edge. I think another hole where you can certainly find some trouble, but overall, a bad shot will normally leave you with a pretty short upshot for the 3. Not too much danger, but for players of this caliber and the pace they want to set, certainly attack for birdie here.
Yeah, as you said, there's, you know, kind of an early gap, but it's not too tight. Couple of trees in the fairway there, mostly on the left side, just a little bit. So it might maybe favor the righty backhand or the lefty forehand, but well-guarded green. Yeah, once you get up there, you know, you gotta kind of hope you don't get too much stuff in your way, especially on that right side of the green as the tee faces it. There's a whole cluster of trees that'll wall you off if you're not careful. So Niklas is in good shape there. Left side's a little better. Oh no. That's 2 in a row shanks for Dennis. He hasn't really been feeling too great this week, having a bad headache and low energy, but always a positive attitude and looking to fight through that to try to defend his title. But yeah, clearly a little bit off the tee on these last couple shots at least. After a really good first hole, he almost, you know, smashed it in from long range.
Albert, I like his use of the width available to him, similar to Dennis's shot, but finding that late stability and the full flight to swing back towards the green will leave him just around circle's edge for his birdie look here on hole 3. We go first to Dennis. A lot of work left, a tight gap to hit, and he's done that.
Yeah, what a shot. He was not in a good place there. He found a really skinny little window and executed it pretty much to perfection. I mean, you can't do it a whole lot better from where he was, giving himself a chance to save the par at least. There's that clustered right side green that I mentioned. Peter, yeah, unable to get through. Albert dealing with similar situation. Not punished as bad, but unable to connect for birdie.
It is almost preferable to have the width right but be short on this hole than to be pin high and left or right, because you have this opening which Niklas finds pure to the chains there. Fantastic start for his round now. Quick inspection of the disc. Fun fact about Niklas, I learned that he counts the discs in his bag at every tee pad. Just yesterday, speaking with him, we tried to play a little bit of a trick on him, take a disc out of his bag rather. He was dialed in. He knew it the second he looked at his bag. Fantastic save by Dennis there to secure the par.
That's a good method. Pro move. At that level, yeah, each one of those discs is very important. It's earned a spot in that bag, as we see Peter had to take a bogey, unfortunately, after a fairly decent drive, but that's how well guarded this green is. But yeah, those are tools of the trade. Those are weapons you need for very specific moments, you know, when you're looking to play at that level. So good methodology there for the man. A birdie, a couple pars, and a bogey. Look at these aerial views. Drone shots are so pretty. We got hot rounds out there already from Elias Gripler and Knut Holland playing on the same card.
The discovery of electricity, the first flight, democracy, splitting the atom, computers, modern medicine, space travel, and of course, the royal line from latitude 64.
Moving on, hole 4, par 4, 200 meters. Yeah, it's a pretty skinny fairway. You got a couple of these structures here on the left that you have to try to avoid. Also a couple light poles. You know, a lot of stuff going on here on the fairway, and it's pretty skinny. OBE left and right. If you kick right, yeah, it's super soggy, swampy land over there with some tall grass. You might lose the disc. And we see the green is very well guarded by quite a few trees, pines, birch, OB left side, and a very beautiful green, but a really treacherous basket placement here, just about 1.5 meters from the water line. So very scary to approach and putt on. You want to get it as close as you can, but you can't overshoot it, or you'll be in the drink, and you don't want that death putt either. So I guess the approach is really pretty important here on this one.
So certainly more so than the drive. This green just inviting you to bogey it.
Yeah.
With a small mistake. Niklas with a picture perfect drive here, flexing one down the pipe. That late stability keeping him on the left plateau, that green grass. He is in the perfect sweet spot to have a straight and short look into the green. Exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, that was brilliant. This is a little low. It's in the fairway at least, but he'll have a little bit more work to do on the approach. But he's got everything he needs to do that. You know, he's got all the skills.
And it's enough to birdie. It just makes that danger of that very tight green close to the OP come into play more. You just have to be more accurate at that longer distance. This is another common play for the right-handed players to throw a forehand that fights over the left side and back in, but those houses are right there in play. And Albert, with a pretty gnarly kick out to the right, does find himself OB.
Yeah, skips off the top of the roof there. Gets a little bit too much, or like a little bit of unfortunate roll, and ends up just 0.5 meter out of bounds. It was close, too close for the spotter to call, but once they got up there, they saw it was clearly out of bounds. Solid drive there. That's right where you want to be. There's like a pretty fair gap on the inside, like on the right side. Left side, there's also opportunities to get to the basket, but it might be a little bit more cluttered. And here we see Dennis working that left side, getting through clean, fights through those 2 pines, and there he is.
That's such nice control, man. From where he's at, there's so much danger in that shot, and he makes it look so safe.
Yeah, very well played. Now Albert trying to save the par, but unfortunately rolls out of bounds again. And that's, yeah, pretty heavy punishment. A couple of sort of bad breaks, not ideal shots necessarily, but yeah, it didn't really go his way with the ground play in either case, and now he's facing a bigger number than you would wish to take on any hole.
And that's just about 35, 40 meters for Niklas, slightly downhill as well. Being on that mound allows him to jump putt approach. Peter, nice touchy guy play here with the soft backhand delivery into the green, as we see 3 putts coming up now from safety. Only Albert flirting with that OP line, unfortunately finding the wrong side of it. But Dennis, good for the putt, no surprise.
Easy for Niklas. I mean, after a drive like that, and you can just jump putt approach and then tap it in for your birdie. Look at how clear the water is in this lake and the dramatic mountains in the back. Always the clouds just kind of floating around the top. It really is a very beautiful scenic place. Vasset Diskgolf Park. It's a one you would definitely want to come check out if you can.
That clear water just inviting you to hop in and grab that lost disc you might see in there. We move to hole 5. This beautiful par 3 over the water. We have inbounds lining the left side path, but a lot of people are just going to be swinging that wide and high hyzer out over the right and crashing into this mounded sloped green. Priority here is to cross to safety. If you do not, you will proceed to the drop zone, which leaves you with a very makeable but precarious upshot from that left corner. The green and basket perched right on the edge of the mound, leading back towards the water. Managing your stability as well as your height, very critical here. This is a long hyzer sort of shape. Niklas up first. You don't really ever want to see it get to completely flat. You want to see a straight to left moving flight the whole way. He's come up a bit short, but well in play and safe.
Yeah, surprisingly short there, but there was some slight wind. Maybe just trying to make sure he didn't, you know, get that headwind to sort of turn. And that, yeah, definitely overturned. Safe, but not in birdie position at all from over there. Might even be a little bit tricky to get up and down. There's quite a few little trees, or not little, but quite a few trees over there that can get in your way. This looks better. Still comes up short, but circle's edge-ish. Scary putt, though. You know, it does drop off. There is OB down there. Every hole is designed very well to have a lot of score separation. You know, there's a lot of risk reward, a lot of things that can go wrong, especially on the greens.
And Albert smashing the hyzer. We see a great display of his power there. Just that one angle shot right up to the green. Shout out to the caddies representing and supporting the players here. There's a lot of them getting involved in the action. Dennis playing this slope on his approach and a nasty backwards roll, giving him a bit of extra distance. And I think he had to play more to the left side, but combining with a slightly unfortunate result there.
Yeah, he was a bit obstructed, tried to get around that stuff, but did catch edge and roll down there. He's going to have a tester. Here he is. Circle 2.
Dennis knows what he's doing on the green. Albert here, despite being a short putt with the wind coming up the water and that drop off behind, that's a pretty nervy short putt. And I'd say that's one of Albert's biggest weaknesses when we've seen him. He can be great from tee to green, but on certain rounds he's just not putting it together on the putting. But you see him make that one there and get his first birdie of the round.
Yeah, good stroke there. Help build some confidence moving forward. On to hole 6. This is an uphill par 4. Not the longest one, but you got to deal with this Mando tree. There is also this restroom here right on the fairway. Doesn't really come into play too much. Players are usually going up a little higher and trying to get up onto this flat part. There's the Mando that you see on the right, but the main landing zone is about right up here. There's like the fairway's quite flat. There's very uphill up to that point, and then the green, super well guarded with a bunch of different trees and a huge drop off on the right side. So yeah, it's a pretty tricky one, really, in a way. You know, it's not the longest or most difficult shape, but quite uphill and quite a few things to beat, especially at the end of the flight. And again, you see how the green just drops off right outside the bullseye. A theme that you got to get used to out here on this course. Deep breath. And a rip, just bazooka smashing this thing. That's so far up there.
That is crazy. He's going to be having a jump putt for eagle, it looks like. Doesn't even need to take that risk of the drop off behind, but to get that far is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Niklas going to be showing normal human, top athlete even power.
Yeah.
And that's as good of a drive as you can want on this hole. It's going to open up his angle. That is the common good landing zone. And you see, unfazed by the distance shown by Albert, he's playing his game plan and in a prime position.
Yeah, the whole card was well impressed with Albert's drive. I haven't seen anything close to that far. As we see Dennis with the forehand, getting also into that kind of mortal range. Albert just doing super heroic stuff with the power. Peter flipping up the hyzer. Catches a tree, knocked down. He's going to be in a very soggy spot here. They have had a lot of rain over the last 3 weeks or so. And so the ground can be pretty wet. And his lie is unfortunately in a very muddy spot as he plants his right foot there and tries to get a lot of power on that hyzer to get over the trees. He sinks up to the ankle in the mud, and his feet are going to be wet the rest of the way. There you see him. He has to try pretty hard to get the mud off, and then the fairway saturated. And
beautiful forehand approach there by Dennis. Well executed on a tough angle. We go now to Niklas, looking to throw a slightly overstable approach disc here into the green, and also fantastic touch on display there. Excited to say that MDG Media is growing up a little bit. We are excited to be bringing you this new merch, and we have t-shirts, we have sweaters, we have hoodies in collaboration with YOW Apparel. It is some of the best stuff on the market. Make sure to check it out. Support European disc golf production.
yeah, the quality is total top of the line. Big thanks for doing what you do. And then they look amazing. I mean, like the designs, just super sharp. Really cool stuff. Get yourself some, look good, and help support the cause. Disc golf media coverage in Europe. This is where it's at. We appreciate it all.
And just these short putts left for our feature card. Fantastic execution here on hole 6. We see 3 birdies and the lone par from Peter.
Yeah, very well played.
OTB is very specific on how they list the disc because they want you to like the disc.
Virtually in your hand tells you what the disc is going to feel like, how heavy it's going to be. It's everything you want to know before it shows up to your house.
Not just marketing.
It's only the best.
Huge shout out to OTB for doing what they do. Amazing stuff. Great to have their support as well.
We see here hole 7. This very nice uphill tunnel shot par 3. Players are likely going to be shaping something slightly understable on a hyzer that flips up to flat through this gap. The most common play to get you there is going to be hit the floor, slide on up on these wood chips. The priority here is to make sure that you don't take an early kick. Even a kick halfway down this tunnel, 2/3 down, will give you some sort of obstructed look. So it really is just about controlling your angles. And I think something that these guys excel at, particularly Albert, known as a power player. We'll get to see his finesse and control here as well.
Yeah, this is way more uphill than you can tell from the camera. You can sort of see the player's eyes looking up into the sky as they're eyeing up the basket. Good camera work and editing there. And we see Albert, yeah, he just put it right up there. That's almost parked. Niklas was a little high, caught the overhanging branches. Not really in bad position, but pretty unlikely birdie from way back there. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's him, but I wouldn't give him high odds on it.
Yeah, that low ceiling plus the slope up really makes it difficult.
And that kicks hard left. Not really where you want to be. Have to wait and see how deep he is in there, but definitely going to be dealing with obstruction. His scrambling game's been on point, though, today.
Peter slightly overturned, but does remain within the tunnel. We go now to Niklas. Is looking like he has a putting stance, so is comfortable giving this the spin and height. Just shy of that upper plateau, but very safe and fine spot to secure his par. Dennis, more obstructed. And he's just been hitting these small gaps from the rough all day, making it look easy. That is thick over there.
Yeah, showing some serious resilience, you know, not letting the bogey monster come into the light.
Oy, what a run from Peter there.
Oh, don't do it. I was worried there for a moment. Gave it a chance. It looked like it was going to roll back, but checked up. So really, yeah, I mean, he saved some amazing pars with the really great up shots from tight places. Here we see Albert taking his time, getting that birdie. Well done.
I like to see it, you know, being routine-oriented, making sure that you're dialing in every putt, giving respect to every putt, whether it's a short, medium, or a long putt. Albert now has put together a pretty nice streak all of a sudden.
Yeah, sneaky. Get himself a turkey there after a rough start. He was +2 through 4, back under par, hanging tough, battling strong, doing what he can to keep up with these European champions.
And I think this is the story of European disc golf right now. We see Finland, we see Sweden, we see Estonia, we see Norway. These are the names people discuss when talking about the best countries in Europe for this sport.
Absolutely. These are the top nations that are kind of, you know, blazing the trail and showing the light. But it's growing all over, and that's one of the really cool things about this event. You know, every country in Europe that has disc golf is represented. They can come get the experience playing with these top players in an event that they wouldn't, you know, usually get to play at this level. They can take that experience back to their home country and try to grow the sport. And it's a beautiful thing. Hole 8. This is a tough par 4. You got a Mando on the right. It's pretty uphill. The ground is pretty saturated. There's OB on the left. You want to be as far to the left as you can in order to open up this second shot that turns really sharply from left to right. And the OB, as you can see, very close behind. Another sloping hillside, left to right there at the very end of it. Pretty demanding hole in its own way. It's not the longest. It's just got a couple of tricky shapes to deal with, and yeah, a lot of danger.
Dennis looking for first run crows on online marketplaces there on his phone mid-round.
That's so true. Be a hero. Help the man out. It's like, you know, there's unicorns out there, I'm sure. That was great. He's safe. Yeah, that's brilliant. You know,
fantastic. Yeah, the more you play with the left side OB, the better your shot will be, assuming that you're safe. From the stakes that we saw, it looked to be very close, but that spotter knowing exactly where that line is.
Just please help a brother out. Who be hoarding those crows, man? Get them in the hands of the guy that needs them. All jokes aside, that's a really great shot. It's not a really lefty friendly hole, I wouldn't say necessarily, but he did something special there. He just put it way up the fairway, and now he's lined up with that gap. There's like a sneaky kind of inside gap where you can get to the green.
Not many people actually get around the corner of that Mando tree. Peter has done well. Near that bush you see left of frame is a very common landing area, and I think where players are honestly trying to get a pump up past that corner and be looking sideways to the basket is indicator of an incredible drive.
Look at that.
Easy.
That's the gap I was talking about, and Peter hits it with a turnover from way back. That was so sneaky. Cheeky almost, you see?
Yeah, he knows he got away with that one a little bit, but hey, that's his game plan. He executed it well. There's not too many gaps you have to choose from. I think that inside one offering some of the best chances to get close to the pin. The outside gap will get you good progress reliably, but not that close. Albert with just a huge putt.
Just a lunging jump putt through that same gap, and he's up to the basket. I mean, how many different ways can you get up to the pin? As we see Niklas here with this forehand spike hyzer, tombstoning it in there, right where he needs to be. And this is all Dennis has left.
And he's running it. You know he's running it.
He is. For the eagle, oh, don't do it. Sits up, checks nice. Everybody's inside the circle for a potential star frame.
But one of the best drives I've personally ever seen on this hole from Dennis there is rewarded.
Yeah, that was
nice
amazing.
Putt.
Would have been a really cool eagle. Peter here, slightly downhill, 5-meter putt, and just laps there on the green, too high. think he could already kind of taste that star frame jingle. Unfortunately, they'll have to wait.
Niklas, you'll notice that he goes from those short-range putts from a spin putt to more of a pitch putt, really just using his arm as a pendulum, keeping it nearly completely straight, controlling the speed and variability, let's say, of the outcome of his putt at that short distance.
Yeah,
and as
no,
we see these tap-ins, I think a
neat.
great result overall for the card on a kind of tricky hole.
Yeah, they made that look really easy. They showed a lot of different ways to do it.
They will continue here onto hole number 9. This par 4 requires 2 very good shots. You have this initial downhill tunnel. You have natural rough lining the left and right side. An ideal throw will get through this gap, fading to the left near this mulch. This tree that we're passing right here is a Mando, forcing players to play down this tunnel with a drop zone. If you miss it, it then swings back to the right, where you have to navigate through this winding tree line. A lot of obstacles needing to be avoided, and as you get up here to this well-guarded green, you just have to shape something so perfectly to get close. A really common landing zone for 2 good shots is even just circle 2 here.
Super demanding par 4. Yeah, really tight, pretty much everywhere. The landing zone's very small. The Mando is definitely in play, and it's very wet on the ground. This is a swamp, marshy kind of area that they've worked really hard to dry out, and they have improved it from what I've heard, but it's still very wet. So the footing could be an issue.
And if you're comfortable with the forehand as a right-handed player, it can play really well. A flex or hyzer flip into the gap ending to the right will get you the most progress. But you see why that right ending shot can bring so much danger. Niklas inversely ends strongly to the left, and although he didn't seem too pleased from his body language there, that is certainly a fine shot that will open up his angle.
Yeah, not a ton of distance, but in a pretty decent position. It was way too high, as we heard him say and finish there. And that's really good. I like that. That's where you want to be. I mean, it could be a little more center, but that's great.
Peter inside left, and he's fortunate to kick back out into the open. You see those limbs grab a lot of discs into the tree line, which will really limit your available options. At least now he has an open swing. This is likely just going to be a pitch up before the Mando tree, giving himself a look to try and save the par. Would be pretty fantastic. He's effectively where a good drive would be for a birdie look, but he's done it in 2. Niklas shaping a beautiful shot. You saw his awkward stance, the full swing, the full flight. Really well executed,
Very
considering
well done,
his position there.
Yeah, to even be anywhere near a birdie from back where he was. Fantastic second shot. Drop zone for Albert after missing the Mando.
Oh, he slips on by.
Yeah, just missing that tree. Another smooth forehand. Gets him up there. C2. Look at this. What a move. Get through. Yes, sir.
And the backstop. That is just dissecting this hole by Dennis. You will not see it done much better in 2 to the green than that right there. Peter. It looked like it could have potentially been another slightly early release, but found the late flip in the flight, fought back, and that's a certainly manageable putt for his par save. Well done. Albert got caught up on this rock line prior to the green, very common landing zone.
Whoa. Okay. Not great, but like he knew it wasn't great right out of the hand, but high and left. Just a smidgen short there, catching the nubs. That would have been to go 6 down in the front 9. That's a really hot score on this course.
That's a score a lot of players would be super happy to have at the end of the round. To do so through just the first half of the round is pretty incredible. And both Niklas and Dennis still bogey free.
Albert connecting there for the bogey. Great birdie from Dennis. But yeah, Niklas is going to take the par and have to settle for a 5 down, but still really good start to this European Championships on this beautiful course. And that does it for the front 9. That just flew right by. It is a really fun course to play and watch. Lots of entertaining action, beautiful views all around. Some pretty hot rounds going out there. Newton Christian at the top, Morten Brenna. And as you see, Niklas and Dennis, European champs of years past, already right up there in the mix after only being through 9 holes. So showing why they're some of the favorites to take that title down.
We appreciate you joining us very much. To support European Disc Golf coverage, you can like, comment, subscribe. Click that link below for the incredible new merch. Do all the things you can to support us. We bring you this free coverage because we love it, and we hope to catch you on the back 9. We will see you there.
Yeah, every bit helps. Appreciate your support. Great to be here with you in the booth, and we'll see you on the other side.